Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. It is time for some more Duggar tea. Okay, really, I was not expecting a double dose of Jill Dillard's spilling, but it's coming. The tea is piping, and can I just say, I love when somebody stands up for themselves. So this is Katie Joy, and Jim Bob does not own me. All right, so earlier today we did a video about Jill Dillard and how she is coming out, and she's coming out swinging about this ongoing feud with her family. She actually revealed today that the reason behind the rift isn't what you think. It's because she literally decided that she wanted to, be an adult and have control of her own life. I know, right? Well, if you're Jim Bob Duggar and you love to control your children, the last thing you want is a child to actually have control. She said that when she actually approached her father, after she learned that things that they had been working towards, job opportunities and potential moves, were taken from them because they were not allowed to do things that they wanted as a family, as a married couple, they knew they had to leave. When they made the choice to leave, they confronted her parents, and her parents were furious. Apparently, it did not go well with the network or with Jim Bob Duggar, and that has led to this ongoing fracture with her parents. Not only that, but it was her choice and her choices to leave the conservative world behind her and embrace modern technology, the life of a modern woman, and realizing that she didn't have to fear everything around her. In fact, since she's left, she's pierced her nose, she wears ripped jeans, she has modeled modest swimwear. Yeah, that literally happened. Not only that, but she's had some beverages like pina coladas and a glass of wine. But perhaps the most scandalous thing that she has done since leaving has not been wearing pants, but rather it has been protecting herself from having as many kids as possible. Can you imagine rebelling against your parents, and the major rebel is that you have less than 19 kids? I mean, seriously. In a world that is massively overpopulated and the average family has only 2.1 or 2.2 children, and you are just going to be like the average masses, and that's literally rebellion. That's the definition of, I think I'm living in a world that is an alternate universe. Jill is actually criticizing the way that her parents raised her. I cannot believe this came out of her mouth, but she actually talked about the things that you and I talk about so much on this channel, about how women in this cult are put into a position where they are looked at only as a vehicle, as a factory for more and more babies. They are taught from a very young age to be submissive and to allow their husbands to have as much access to them as they want, regardless if they want it or not, and that their sole purpose in life is to be the bearer as many children as they can physically have. Not necessarily the wisest choice, especially if you have a body that doesn't take to pregnancy or have complications, which has put many of these women in very precarious situations following birth, like Jessica Duggar, who has 3 times ended up in the hospital. Or let's talk about Kendra Duggar, who's literally having 3 back-to-back pregnancies with less than 2 years apart in between each pregnancy, with mere months in between one pregnancy to a next. Her body is not recovering. With many people speculating that the Duggars are not responsible in terms of how they manage pregnancy, Jill is taking a stand. And I say, hear, hear. So what is it that Jill actually said? Well, she said, growing up, it was ingrained in me that if you don't have as many kids as you're able to, that there's something wrong with that. So basically, she's admitting that her parents told her if she doesn't have as many kids as possible, there's something wrong with her. And then she said, but there was a shift in me where I felt like it wasn't wrong if you decide as a couple that it's best for you to wait. So they basically live in this quiverful movement. The Quiverful movement is this fundamentalist belief that you need to have as many kids as possible because you are populating this earth with God's army. And the goal is to have as many children for Christ as possible so there are more Christians on the planet than any other religion. It's basically the plan to take over the Christian world. So they do this without ever considering the ramifications of, can they care for the child? Can they feed the child? Can they actually pay for the child? Can they have a relationship with the child? And this is where Jill got a little bit snappy, and this is what she said. She was told after giving birth to her first son that she needed to wait at least 18 months to get pregnant again, which is why there's a gap between her, Israel, and Samuel. And this is pretty common. If you have a C-section, that's major abdominal surgery. She should be waiting, right? And she said, children are a blessing, but that doesn't mean at all costs. You should have as many kids as possible. Whoa. If that's not the most shade I think she's ever thrown at her parents, I don't know what is. At all costs, meaning that you put children and reproduction above everything else in your life, that you also don't take into consideration the fact that maybe you have too many kids to actually care for or even have relationships with. I think part of the reason for the massive breakdowns in this family, including the scandals with Josh and Jill and all of these girls becoming his, you know what I'm saying, was lack of supervision. Not only that, was Michelle relied heavily on her older girls to raise her children, with Jill being one of the top. Jill's the second oldest daughter, and between her and Jana, Jessa, and Ginger, those four were tasked in raising nearly all of their younger siblings, because once the baby came off of her from nursing, it was on to the new buddy team. Jill, Jana, Jessa, and Ginger led the buddy teams. That's it. So if you want to know who the moms were in this family, it certainly was not Michelle Duggar. Today, it's most likely Jana that is doing most of the child rearing remaining in this home, which has a lot of people speculating that she has remained there because of Josie, who she was given as her final buddy and who happened to be born extremely premature. She also understands that by making this choice, she's going to upset people in her family, and it's going to make them judge her. Imagine this. You are a mom that has already two precious, beautiful babies. You have the picture perfect life. You've got your house, your two kids, and you're living the suburban life. Your husband is in law school. For all intents and purposes, you are a successful human being, and yet your family is shaming you because how dare you use birth control to prevent pregnancy. Now, she says that she does not use birth control that's hormonal because she still is of the belief, because of what her mom told her about birth control, that it can cause certain things to happen, which is unfortunately not true. She does use barrier methods, which I'm guessing is rubber. You know what I'm saying? So she and her husband are using barrier methods. They are not going to have any more kids right now, and they haven't put that off the table for the future. But this is probably the biggest change for Jill, is her literally saying to her family, I'm not going to put my place as a mother and your weird belief that we need to populate this world. I'm not going to put my safety, and I'm not going to risk the relationships with my children. I'm not going to go broke because of it. I'm not going to put, burdens onto other people. I'm not going to have my children raising my children. I'm going to be the mom to my kids. I'm not going to be like my mom, Michelle Duggar. Jill has a lot to say, and I can't wait to hear more. So tell me what your thoughts are. Are you surprised to hear Jill come out like this, come out swinging in such a way, and so dramatically state, I'm not going to be like my mom? Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.